It's now 5 o'clock, and today is Wednesday, December 18th, and I'd like to welcome everyone to this meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission. With that, I'm going to call the meeting to order. Sarah, would you please call roll?
Commissioner Bittner?
Here.
Commissioner Field?
Here.
Commissioner Johnson?
Here.
Commissioner Larson?
Here.
Commissioner Lukens?
Here.
Commissioner Shell?
Here.
Commissioner Schmitz?
Here.
Commissioner Seebach?
Here.
Commissioner Wangen?
Here.
Zent?
Here.
And Chair Schwartz?
Here. Thank you. With that, we'll call the meeting to order and move. The first item on our agenda is approval of the meeting minutes from our previous meeting. And commissioners, what are your wishes? And this would be for the November meeting.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve,
Second.
and we have a second. Any discussion, commissioners? Not seeing or hearing any. Sarah, would you please call roll?
Commissioner Wangen?
Yes.
Commissioner Field?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Larson?
Yes.
Commissioner Lukens?
Yes.
Commissioner Shell?
Yes.
Commissioner Schmitz?
Yes.
Commissioner Seebach?
Yes.
Commissioner Bittner?
Yes.
Commissioner Zent?
Yes.
Chair Schwartz?
Yes, the motion is approved. With that, we move on to our consent agenda this evening, and we have one item on our consent agenda, which is the Fuller Fountain subdivision, and it is a request for a preliminary plat. Staff recommendation is a call for public hearing. Commissioners, what are your wishes?
Move to call for public hearing.
We have a motion from Commissioner Schmitz to call for a public hearing. Do I hear?
Second.
We have a second from Commissioner Johnson. With that, any discussion, commissioners? And I'm not seeing or hearing any. So with that, Sarah, would you please call roll?
Commissioner Seebach?
Here. Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Field?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Wangen?
Yes.
Commissioner Larson?
Yes.
Commissioner Lukens?
Yes.
Commissioner Shell?
Yes.
Commissioner Schmitz?
Yes.
Commissioner Bittner?
Yes.
Commissioner Zent?
Yes.
And Chair Schwartz?
Yes, the motion is approved. With that, we'll move on to our regular agenda this evening. And the first item on our regular agenda is a public hearing, and it's a call for a minor plat, Sykes Second Edition. And Jenny is going to provide us with staff report this evening.
Thank you, Chairman Schwartz, Commissioners. Ridgeline Contracting is requesting approval of a minor subdivision final plat titled Sykes Second Edition. The request is located in southeast Bismarck, south of Airway Avenue and east of University Drive, in the northwest quadrant of the intersection of Burlington Drive and Wanchano Way, and consists of 6.06 acres. The proposed plat is a replat of Lot 2A and Lot 2B of Block 1, Sykes Edition. Portions of the plat are currently being developed, and 2 site plans for storage units and warehouses have already been approved. The proposed plat would create individual lots and access easements to those lots for existing and future buildings. The property is already zoned MA Industrial, and there are no plans to change that zoning. I should note that a minor plat titled Sykes Second Edition was approved by this board and the City Commission in 2023. The plat was located east of the current plat and was never recorded. After consultation with the applicant and engineer, the plat was deemed abandoned and withdrawn in early 2024. Reusing this plat title, Sykes Second Edition, for the current plat conforms to our naming conventions. The public has been notified of this request. A notice was published in the Tribune on December 6th and 13th, and 6 postcards were mailed to the owners of nearby properties on December 6th. To my knowledge, we have not received any comments regarding this request. The applicant and their consultant received notifications and updates throughout the application process. North Dakota Century Code and the City Code of Ordinances require a certified letter be sent to the applicant notifying them of a public hearing for a plat. The zoning ordinance requires this letter to be sent no later than 10 days prior to the public hearing. Unfortunately, the certified letter was not sent out 10 days prior to tonight's hearing. As such, staff's recommendation is that the public hearing be continued to your January 22nd meeting. The applicant and their consultant are aware of this error, and the required certified letter has already been sent. Therefore, staff recommends the public hearing for the minor subdivision final plat for Sykes Second Edition be continued to your January 22nd, 2025 meeting. Do you have any questions?
Commissioners, questions for Jenny? I'm not seeing or hearing any, Jenny.
Thank you.
Thank you. With that, this is a public hearing. I'll open the public hearing as either the requester or a representative here to speak.
Thank you, Chair Schwartz. Landon Eimler, Cincinnati Engineering, representing Ridgeline Contracting. Yes, we've discussed this with the developer. Another month delay isn't an issue for us on this project, so we can discuss at the next meeting if you'd like to, or we can discuss it now. It's totally your call.
Commissioners, questions for Landon? Sounds like we can probably discuss it next meeting.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Thank you. With that, the podium's open for others that would care to come to and address this agenda item. And I'm not seeing or hearing any. So with that, I'm going to close the public hearing. Jenny, any, Commissioner Schmitz?
So if we're going to continue it, I don't think we can close the hearing. We just need to continue.
Okay. Would that be the appropriate? Okay. Thank you. All right. With that, we will continue the public hearing until our next meeting.
Do we need a motion for that?
A motion would be.
In order? Okay.
So I'll move that we continue the hearing to the January 22nd, 2020.
Second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Schmitz and a second from Commissioner Bittner. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. And that is a motion to continue. Any discussion, Commissioners? Not seeing or hearing any? Sarah, please call roll.
Commissioner Field,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Schmitz,
Yes.
Commissioner Larson,
Yes.
Commissioner Lukens,
Yes.
Commissioner Shell,
Yes.
Commissioner Seabuck,
Yes.
Commissioner Wangen,
Yes.
Commissioner Zent,
Yes.
Commissioner Bittner.
Yes.
Thank you. And Chair Schwartz.
Yes, the motion is approved. With that, we'll move on to item B in our regular agenda, which is Boulder Ridge First Edition. This is a request for a public hearing, and it's for a zoning map amendment. And I believe Jenny is going to once again provide us with staff report.
Thank you, Chairman Schwartz, Commissioners. Wilman Properties LLC is requesting approval of a zoning map amendment from the CA Commercial Zoning District to the CG Commercial Zoning District on part of Lot 27, Block 1, Boulder Ridge First Edition. This request is located in northwest Bismarck in the northeast quadrant of the intersection of North Washington Street and 43rd Avenue and consists of 8.36 acres. You considered this request at your November 20th meeting and called for a public hearing. A lot modification has also been submitted to combine a portion of Lot 27, the northeastern portion, which will remain Zone CA, with Lot 26 to the east, which is also Zone CA Commercial. Lot 26 is immediately adjacent to the east of Lot 27. You can see it on your screen there. The public has been notified of this request. A notice was published in the Tribune on December 6th and 13th, and 24 letters were mailed to the owners of nearby properties on December 6th. To my knowledge, we have not received any comments. This request was evaluated according to the standards contained within the Comprehensive Plan, Bismarck Code of Ordinances, and state law. As a result of the findings contained in the staff reports, staff find that the proposed zoning map amendment would not adversely impact the public health, safety, and general welfare, and is consistent with the Comprehensive Plan, Bismarck Code of Ordinances, and state law. Staff recommends approval of the zoning map amendment on part of Lot 27, Block 1, Boulder Ridge First Edition, as outlined in the attached draft ordinance. Do you have questions?
Commissioners, questions for Jenny? I'm not seeing or hearing any, Jenny. Thank you. With that, this is a request for a public hearing. Is either the requester or a representative here? And once again, Landon gets to step up.
Thank you again, Chair Schwartz. Yes, Landon Eimler, Cincinnati Engineering, representing Wilmot Properties in this. Just to add a few notes to what Jenny had presented to you. You can see on your maps that division of where the CG and CA is. That wasn't a random line drawn in the sand here. That was the purpose of that was because we're matching up with where there's some existing office space on the north side of that. East of those offices is some housing. So we'd like to keep that heavier commercial use away from there. We're keeping that to the west. We'll keep the CA zoning as it is on the east. Additionally, it's kind of an oddball shape right now. We're intending to plat at some point so that curve in there would follow an eventual right-of-way curve. That's really the goal here. The CG zoning kind of gives us some more options to develop the property, but still times buffering away from that residential area. But I can answer any questions if you have them.
Commissioners, questions for Landon? I'm not seeing or hearing any, Landon. Thank you. With that, the podium is open for others that would care to address this agenda item. Sir, if you would put your name on the log there, that would be wonderful, and introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Craig Thorough. I live at 301 Slate Drive, and my property, of course, borders the Wilmot property to the south and also the west. I'm along the easement is where my residence is at. And my question is what is the difference between CA and CG?
All right. Jenny, would you care to address that, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The CA zoning district is more of your neighborhood commercial uses. Things like an office, bank, health medical group, doctor's office, chiropractor, some religious institutions. The CG is more of a destination commercial use. It's a little higher intensity than the CA, allows a lot of the same things as CA does, but also allows hotel, motel, retail group, service groups, things like that.
So basically what it does, it increases the opportunities for development. Would that be the difference between the CG and the CA?
Both provide opportunities for development. The CG has more options for more intensive commercial uses.
Has more options, okay. Also, the concern I have is that the easement that adjoins my property to the west of my residence, is that going to become part of the street? I don't know, would Landon happen to know what they're going to do as far as access to the property off of 43rd?
Craig, what we can do is we can have Landon step back up here.
Okay.
Is that your,
That's my question, yes.
that's your question?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. We'll have Landon step back up and address that.
Thank you, Chair Schwartz. What I assume he's referring to is there is a section of land that is part of lots 26 and 27, I believe, that sort of splits the residential area in half, and there's availability for a driveway to go through there. It wouldn't be a public street; it would be a private easement that goes through there. But yeah, at some point, yes, it's likely that would become part of an access point.
Okay, thank you. Are there others that would care to step up and address this agenda item? All right, I'm not seeing or hearing any. With that, I'm going to close the public hearing. Jenny, any additional comments? Okay, with that, this is a request. Staff recommends approval for this zoning map amendment. Commissioners, what are your wishes?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Do I hear a second?
Second.
We have a second. With that, any additional discussion?
Maybe this is just a clarification or that staff can provide. It seems that only a portion of this parcel of land would be changed in its zoning. Is there a potential split or some sort of lot split that would occur, or would this parcel have multiple zoning designations? I guess would be my question.
Jenny, can you
Sure.
answer that?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Shell, Lot 27, the one on the corner, will be split. There's a lot modification in process right now. The northeastern part, if we could have the screen showing the zoning map, the northeastern part of Lot 27 will remain CA and be combined with the property to the east, Lot 26.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Shell. Additional discussion? And I'm not seeing or hearing any, so we have a motion on the table from Commissioner Wagon and a second from Commissioner Cole to approve. Sarah, would you please call a roll?
Commissioner Wagen,
Yes.
Commissioner Field,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Larson,
Yes.
Commissioner Bittner,
Yes.
Commissioner Lukens,
Yes.
Commissioner Shell,
Yes.
Commissioner Schmitz,
Yes.
Commissioner Seabock,
Yes.
Commissioner Zent,
Yes.
Chair Schwartz.
Yes, motion is approved. With that, we will move on to item C in our regular agenda, which is Northern Pacific Edition, part of Lot 3 and Block 4. It's a request for a zoning map amendment. And I believe Isaac is going to provide staff briefing this evening.
Yes, good evening, Chair Schwartz and Commissioners. For this next regular agenda item, KPJ Properties LLC is requesting approval of a zoning map amendment from the existing R5 residential district to the RM30 residential district on the south 105 feet of the east half of Lot 3, Block 4, Northern Pacific Edition, or part of Lot 3, Block 4 for short. This property, as you can see on the screen before you, is on the north side of East Avenue C, in between North 1st Street to the west and North 2nd Street to the east, generally speaking in central Bismarck. So the property is currently zoned R5 residential and is directly adjacent to some RM30 residential to the east. And as you can see on the screen now, the property is in an area where the blocks, including this one, but the blocks to the north and the south are R5 residential on the western half and RM30 residential on the eastern half. So what this project would do would pull that RM30 into this parcel in particular. This is, however, an older part of Bismarck. It was platted in 1924 to be precise, and there are already some small-scale multifamily buildings woven into the fabric of the area amongst other single and two-family dwellings as well, both in that area that is zoned either R5 or RM30. The area is identified in the future land use plan as urban neighborhood, and that is described as places for a quiet enjoyment of home life. And the information we have received so far states that this proposed change would still generally fit within that future land use plan designation. The public was notified of this request via publications in the Bismarck Tribune on December 6th and 13th, and 66 letters were mailed to nearby property owners on December 6th as well. To my knowledge, staff has received one public comment, which was forwarded to the commission prior to this meeting. In addition to that public comment, staff did receive two other inquiries for more information and just some general questions. But once that additional information was provided to those individuals, they, at that time at least, did not submit a public comment prior to this meeting, as far as I'm aware. As a cumulative result of all the findings in the staff reports before you, City of Bismarck staff find that the proposed zoning map amendment would not adversely impact public health, safety, and general welfare, and that it is generally consistent with the comprehensive plan, Bismarck Code of Ordinances, and relevant state law. Therefore, staff recommends approval of the zoning map amendment from the R5 residential district to the RM30 residential district for Northern Pacific Edition, the previously stated part of Lot 3, Block 4. Does the commission have any questions for me at this time?
Commissioners, questions for Isaac? Commissioner Shell.
Isaac, the staff report states, and you did it as well, the kind of the mixture of some of the multifamily, small scale in this area. Would you say that all that is conforming in nature, or there might be a blend of conforming multifamily as well as some non-conforming in this area?
Sure. So Commissioners and Commissioner Schell, Chair Schwartz, it depends on the district right now. If there is a small-scale multifamily building in the RM30 district, that would be conforming. The RM30 district also allows single and two-family dwellings there. If there is a small-scale multifamily building in the RM5 right now, that is technically non-conforming, but it is, of course, perfectly allowed to stay. In this particular lot, there were previously two single-family homes on that lot, which would have been non-conforming, but there was some fire damage to the structures over time, and eventually the property owner decided to just tear them down, and now we have this proposal before us.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Shell. Commissioners, additional questions? Isaac, I have a question for you. In looking at the map that you've provided for us, RM30 shows up as being the designation to the east of that lot. How far does that RM30 extend?
Yeah, so Chair Schwartz and Commissioners, that RM30, I would have to see the map exactly, but I believe it goes as far east as, is it North 10th Street, 12th Street or so? It goes considerably to the east, but I'd have to see the map to get the precise boundaries of that.
Okay.
If we can get that here shortly, looks like we are. So yes, all of the sort of light brown color with the hash marks through it is the RM30 in question, and then that yellow on the left side is the R5 in question. With that property right there circled by the mouse is the property in question for this particular request.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners, any additional questions for Isaac? Isaac, thank you.
Thank you.
With that, this is a public hearing, so would either the requester or a representative care to step to the podium and address this agenda item?
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Josh Schaffner. I'm one of the partners of KPJ Properties. Like Isaac had mentioned, that we're just requesting that do get changed to a multifamily. There was 2 structures on the lot previously when we purchased the lot, maybe about a year and a half ago. One of them had burned to the ground and had been removed. The other one was in pretty deteriorating condition. We removed that one as well, and we're just hoping to expand it into a multifamily plex, utilizing the existing infrastructure, create a little more what I'd call building up instead of building out in the area there. And I do have some of like a brochure I put together here showing similar locations in the city, very similar in size, that already have multifamily on those approved in the RM30. So it's just unfortunately right outside the boundary, but we're requesting approval on that.
Okay. Commissioners, additional questions for Josh? Commissioner
All
Shell?
sorts of questions today. Thank you, Josh. With this being in the historic cathedral district, can you make any comments onto the architectural nature of what you'd be proposing in this area?
Well, we have put some tentative plans together. We haven't moved too far forward just because we were waiting for approval if it was going to happen. There is a similar property on Avenue D, diagonal to the northeast, that is kind of 2-story, narrow type condos. It would maybe be something similar to that. But as far as a modern design or a older design features, we haven't made that determination.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Shell. Commissioners, additional questions for Josh? Josh, I have a question for you. That's my neighborhood. So I guess I'm curious how many units you're planning. Parking
figure
tends
out
to be
the-
an issue, and that's why I asked the question.
Yeah, we're potentially thinking about 4
4?
in a kind of a, what I'd call it, courtyard type of setup with maybe a center driveway coming in and splitting into the 4 units. Leading off of the alleyway, I would say.
Okay. And I was gonna ask what your plans would be for parking, because one of the letters that we received was concerned about parking issues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if the spacing isn't there for a second row of structures, then we would, move on and not go that route. But it would be potentially parking access from the alleyway, turning in and into the buildings, likely 1-stall garage units.
Okay. I was trying to remember, do you remember it offhand, is that a paved alley or is it?
It's not paved.
It's
no.
not paved?
Correct.
Okay. All right, thank you. Commissioners, additional questions? I'm not seeing or hearing any, Josh. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
With that, the podium is open to others that would care to address this agenda item. And I'm not seeing or hearing any. So with that, I'm going to close the public hearing. Commissioners, this is a request for a zoning map amendment. Staff recommendation is to approve. What are your wishes?
Move to approve as presented.
We have a motion to approve from Commissioner Schmitz.
Second.
We have a second from Commissioner Johnson. What are your wishes? Any additional discussion? I'm not seeing or hearing any. With Sarah, would you please call roll?
Commissioner Seaback?
Yes.
Commissioner Field?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Wangen?
Yes.
Commissioner Bittner?
Yes.
Commissioner Lukens,
Yes.
Commissioner Shell,
Yes.
Commissioner Schmitz,
Yes.
Commissioner Larson,
Yes.
Commissioner Zent,
Yes.
Chair Schwartz.
Yes, the motion is approved. With that, we'll move on to item D in our agenda, which is the Steins Fourth Edition, part of Block 25, and Hay Creek Park Edition, part of Block 1. And it's a request for a zoning map amendment. And I believe Daniel's going to provide us with staff report.
Good evening, Chair Schwartz, Planning and Zoning Commission. This is a petition from 7 different property owners. I'll read their names. Charlotte Hammond, Leo and Johanna Heyer, Charles and Margot Schwer, William and Don Watson, Robert and Bonnie McAdoo, Jeffrey Wetzel, and the Bismarck Parks and Recreation District. It's for a zoning map amendment from the R5 residential to the conditional R10 residential zoning district on lots 2 through 13, Block 25, Steins 4th Edition, and lots 1 through 8, Block 1, Hay Creek Park Edition. You may recall from your previous meeting that you did, as the Planning and Zoning Commission, on behalf of 2 of the lots, call for the hearing. We did not receive petitions from owners of lots 6 and lots 11 of Block 25, Steins 4th Edition, but the ordinance does allow you to initiate a zoning map amendment, and so that was what occurred last month. This is a change from R5 to R10. The relevant difference between the two that is really motivating this request is the allowance for 2 family dwellings in the R10 district, whereas the R5 district is limited only to single-family homes. I should note that R10 does not allow multifamily, anything above 2 units, or commercial uses, office, any of that kind of stuff is not allowed in the R10 district. The area is classified as urban neighborhood in the future land use plan, and really either the R5 or the R10 fit neatly within the urban neighborhood classification. Really, it should be up to 4 units in that broader future land use plan area. So this does meet the future land use plan conditions. The ordinance does include conditions related to stormwater. I'll just explain a little bit about why that is in there. This road was built not too long ago, North 26th Street. It was never built during the initial platting of the property, and so it didn't go through all of the standard grading procedures that you may go through with a development. So there is a need to ensure that the water after post-development conditions would drain to the street rather than back to the lots or north in impact lots after development occurs. Now, R10 may have more impervious surface than R5 if you have 2 units on a lot. We assume it does. And so because of that, engineering would like to be able to review the final development plans to make sure the water is draining to the street. Really on the west side, on the Steins 4th Edition side, not so much the Hay Creek Park Edition side on the east. So that's what those conditions are in there for. It doesn't prohibit any of the development or impede any of the development in any way. It just is to ensure the drainage occurs properly. We did receive 2 inquiries from neighbors. Both were questions really about what R10 means relative to R5. But no opposition or support either way from those inquiries that I am aware of. So based on the findings contained in the staff report, staff does recommend approval of a zoning map amendment from the R5 residential zoning district to a conditional R10 residential zoning district on lots 2 through 13, Block 25, Steins 4th Edition, and lots 1 through 8, Block 1 of Hay Creek Park Edition. I can try to answer any questions you may have.
Commissioners, questions for Daniel? I'm not seeing or hearing any, Daniel. Thank you.
Thanks.
This is a public hearing, so with that, I'll open the public hearing. And these are either the requester or a representative here to speak to this agenda item. And hello, if you would add your name to the log there.
Yeah, good evening, Don Watson. I personally own 2 lots in that area, so I'm the requester. I reached out to all the neighbors. Everybody was in support of it. The only 2, I wasn't able to get 2 signatures. We do have the lots for sale on the MLS right now, and most of the people that are reaching out to that neighborhood, because it's been developed, are interested in building twin homes. And so that's why we're asking the commission tonight to approve it to be rezoned for us. Just more and more people, I think, with the affordability of housing, That's what they're looking for. So just asking for your approval tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. With that, the podium is open for others that would care to address this agenda item. Certainly, you can do that now. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Matthew Krogan. I have lived on East Capitol Avenue for 17 years. I received a letter regarding zoning from R5 to R10. My presentation is regarding goal S10-A and S5-A, which is the highlighted section on the second page of your packet, which states the condition to protect against any negative stormwater impacts to nearby properties. The most recent example of our street flooding is from August. The 26th Street construction connecting to East Capitol Avenue was started in 2020. East Capitol Avenue and 26th Street are both at the bottom of a hill. Both streets connect and drain into Hay Creek. Because of this convergence, East Capitol Avenue backs up. The August flooding was so intense, it uplifted a car, floated it down the street, ending up on the sidewalk. KFYR did a news story about our street flooding. The Facebook video went viral and has over 3.5 million views. Where the car ended up is 2406 East Capitol Avenue, which is Stein's 4th, Block 29, Lot 24. This is an empty lot because of continuous flooding. The water drains underneath the interstate through this lot to Hay Creek, which is the third convergence. There used to be a house on this lot, but because of flooding, it was sold to the city. The previous speaker mentioned about it draining to the street, which does no good because it goes down into Hay Creek. When the construction of 26th Street was started, a drainage lot was put in at 2026 North 26th Street, which is Stein's 4th, Block 25, Lot 13. This 26th Street drainage lot directly protects my house. I am against zoning to R10 because duplexes will increase impervious surfaces. This will lead to increased water backup and increased flooding on East Capitol Avenue. If the current 26th Street drainage lot was built to protect houses from flooding, why is it now considered for removal? If you choose to remove the drainage lot on 26th Street, what steps will you take to ensure my home's protection? In summary, protect the 26th Street drainage lot as it is. You do have the precedence of the city buying a lot in my area for flooding protection. I am willing to answer questions. I have included pictures for documentation. I've also provided my information in the top left for later contact. As far as the pictures, the first page is the car floating down the street on the sidewalk. The second page is the construction of the drainage lot on 26, which is the one that protects my house. The next page of pictures, you can see the bottom of 26 and how long that hill is. And then we have East Capitol Avenue to Hay Creek, another hill. And then the picture of the range showing the bottom, how that backs up. The next page is the angle of 26th Street, and you can see it goes down, and the picture at the bottom is the vehicle's wreck in the winter because it's a straight shot down. The next page is before and after. You can see. Oh. Okay. And the next page, I talked to another neighbor. He's on the corner of 23rd and East Capitol, and you can see how the water backed up on the corner and almost up to his property up over the sidewalk. And the last page was my backyard. The neighbor next to me, he did put a drainage system in, and then you can see in the spring flooding how the water goes down between our houses. I also did print out a contour map if you have an interest to see the contours. That's my presentation.
Commissioners, questions for Matthew? Commissioner Shell.
Thank you, Mr. Krogan. I guess just one maybe point of order, clarification, whatever you'd want to call it. The concept of when the city constructed 26th Street, that there was a drainage lot was put in, I guess it would be upstream directly from your property. I wouldn't necessarily say a drainage lot was put in. The drainage was conveyed through that lot to 26th Street through the mass grading that took place. But one of the goals of that project when we embarked upon it was to capture as much water as we possibly could and load that onto 26th Street and so to redirect from as much of that drainage as possible so it didn't drain into your backyard or the backyards further to the north. But I just wanted to clarify that there wasn't a drainage lot or there wasn't a securing of an easement that would require that to be there forever. So I just wanted to clarify that piece, that there wasn't a drainage lot put in place necessarily, is all I wanted to clarify.
Thank you, Commissioner Shell. Commissioners, additional questions for Matthew? Matthew, I have a question for you. How often have you had high water issues with your yard and your lot?
In the spring, every spring.
Every spring?
Yeah. And every time it backs up, it would pop the manhole covers off because you have it coming in from underneath the interstate. And that's why that lot, I believe, was sold back to the city because you couldn't have a house there. There used to be a house there.
Okay.
So
Thank
at
you.
least once a year, the water backs up. You have garbage cans floating down the street.
Okay, I was just trying to figure out the consistency of how often.
Yeah,
So that-
annual.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Commissioners, additional questions for Matthew? I'm not seeing or hearing any, Matthew.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
Great
you.
pictures.
Thank you.
With that, the podium is open for others that would care to address this agenda item. And I'm not seeing or hearing any. So with that, I'm going to close the public hearing. Commissioners, this is a zoning map amendment request, and staff recommendation is to approve. Actually, I should ask, any additional comments, Daniel?
If I may, I could highlight the conditions that were included on this. I didn't read them verbatim, but it may be relevant to the discussion related to stormwater.
Please do.
The first condition is that lot coverage shall not exceed 30% of the total area of the lot, which, as an aside, is the R5 lot coverage already. Excuse me. With the ability to increase through administrative approval as applied to the R5 residential zoning district. And the second, is that drainage of lots shall be directed to the greatest extent feasible toward North 26th Street as affirmed by the city engineer during site development. So neither of these conditions are on the zoning today. So in the R5 district, we normally would do all the stormwater management planning at the level of the plat, but that's already been completed in this case. So there really is only the building permit at this stage that would be issued, and then the homes would be constructed. So with the adoption of this zoning map amendment, there would be an extra layer of review by the city engineer for the stormwater. Not saying that would solve every issue, but the the intent is to try to address that concern at that time.
Thank you, Daniel. With that, again, Commissioners, staff recommendation is to approve on this agenda item. What are your wishes?
This is Gabe. I'd move to approve with conditions as stated.
We have a motion from Commissioner Shell to approve with conditions.
Second.
We have a second from Commissioner Sivak. Commissioners, at this point, additional discussion?
So
Commissioner Schmitz?
I'm going to point to Gabe because he's our expert in the room with stormwater. And this is an area, Hay Creek is an area anyway of concern. So with what is planned and what is going on for stormwater management, what are our concerns? What concerns should we have related to the future backup in that area?
Sure. If I may, Commissioners, Commissioner Schmitz, the primary concern is just how is this water getting to 26 as far as what we're talking about here for these parcels on the west side of 26th Street. We built 26th Street in a manner that right now the front yards drain towards the street, but the backyards don't until they get to the bottom of the hill, and then they go through the final lot to get to 26th Street. So we want to ensure that that drainage pattern is continued so that as much water as practical is loaded onto 26th Street where it goes to the bottom of the hill. And at that spot, as Mr. Krogan indicated, there's times where that system is overtaxed. When it does fail, thankfully it goes downstream and goes eventually into Hay Creek instead of flooding out properties, because as he indicated earlier, there was a property that was flooded out due to the water leaving the interstate right of way and trying to make it to Interstate Avenue. So the biggest concern that we have particular to this is just making sure that as much water as practical makes it to 26th Street and not have to make its way through the backyards of the properties to the north to get to the same location eventually.
Thank you, Commissioner Schmitz. Commissioners, additional discussion? One of the questions I guess I would ask or throw on the table is, I was convinced that we should move ahead with this, but again, looking at drainage issues that additional dwellings would add concerns me. And I guess I would like to know, and perhaps Commissioner Shell can speak to this, are there any thoughts on changing anything there that would enhance drainage and move water better?
I guess Commissioner Schmitz or Commissioner Schwartz, at this point in time, there's nothing on the city's radar to improve. The event that we saw in August that taxed this system, taxed every system that we had. And so there's a balance of trying to find the right types of systems that can accommodate as many of those events as practical. But there's always going to be a larger event. So the ability to change this so it has a more likelihood of increasing its stormwater capture in the street, has a chain reaction of every single pipe that you grab here until you get down to Hay Creek needs to be upsized as well. So it becomes quite the spendy proposition at that point. So we try to focus those efforts on areas where we know that stormwater might be leaving the right-of-way and damaging property. And in this situation, most of that water just heads out to the east through a channel and gets down to Hay Creek in a different manner.
Okay. And my other question would be, Commissioner Shell, is the city aware that this is a regular or an annual occurrence?
Commissioner Chair Schwartz, I guess to the particular frequency, I guess I can't speak to. We know that this is an area that when we just look at it, that it's likely to take in water. This is not the first time that we've done improvements there. In fact, it's been multiple improvements over the course of time that have got us to the situation that we're at now. By no means does that mean that it's the final solution, and we're always up for looking at additional things. But it all backs down to the severity and what's getting damaged when that potential system fails.
Thank you. Commissioners, additional discussion? I'm not seeing or hearing any, so with that, we have a motion on the table, a motion and a second on the table to approve. Sarah, would you please call roll?
Commissioner Field,
No.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Schmitz,
Yes.
Commissioner Larson,
Yes.
Commissioner Lukens,
No.
Commissioner Shell,
Yes.
Commissioner Sivak,
Yes.
Commissioner Wangen,
Yes.
Commissioner Zent,
Yes.
Commissioner Bittner,
No.
and Chair Schwartz.
Yes, the motion is approved. With that, we'll move on to item E in our regular agenda, which is Mackenzie and Coffin Edition, lots 31 and 32, block 90. And it's a request for a special use permit, and Lauren is going to provide us with staff report this evening.
Good evening, Chairman Schwartz and Commissioners. Lonnie Dietz is requesting approval of a special use permit for a major home occupation on lots 31, 32, Block 90, Mackenzie and Coffins Edition. The parcel is located in central Bismarck on the southeast corner of the intersection of North 4th Street and East Boulevard Avenue. The property is currently zoned R10 residential, which typically has single and two-family residences. The parcel is adjacent to the North Dakota State Capitol grounds, to the north across East Boulevard Avenue, single and two-family residences, a church and an office to the east, single, two-family, and multifamily residences to the south, a school, offices, and single and multifamily residences to the southwest across North 4th Street, and a retail shopping center and single and multifamily residences to the northwest. The property has been identified as urban neighborhood in the future land use plan. These areas are places for quiet enjoyment of home life. The applicant has applied for the major home occupation rather than the minor home occupation, which is by right, as he anticipates that the home occupation would potentially be conducted by more than one additional employee, business partner, independent contractor, or another person affiliated with the home occupation that does not reside on premises. The applicant is aware that the home occupation would require compliance with ADA requirements if any visitors would be visiting this particular site. The public has been duly notified of this request. A notice was published in the Bismarck Tribune on December 6th and 13th, and 40 letters were mailed to owners of nearby properties on December 6th. Staff has had some inquiries about this project. Mainly 3 members of the public were requesting just additional information on what this project was about, what a home occupation was, those similar items. Additionally, staff has received 3 formal public comments in favor of this request, which were provided to you prior to the meeting today. This request was evaluated according to standards contained within the Comprehensive Plan, Bismarck Code of Ordinances, and relevant state law. The applicant has noted that he intends to have a local colleague who may or may not reside there and would have other colleagues use the property when they are in Bismarck to conduct the home occupation when he's not present. Based on this information, there's no guarantee that those conducting the home occupation would be residing on the property. As such, the residential use component for this zoning would be an accessory use rather than the principal use as required, and would not meet the requirements of the zoning. However, I will note that based on the narrative submitted, only some of the requirements for this specific special use were met. This would include use of the principal structure, including floor area use, not altering the principal residential dwelling from a customary residential appearance, meeting no noise ordinance requirements, and making sure visitors are aware of traffic requirements related to this special use permit, including parking. He has noted that there are some potential parking spots on the alley to the east side of this property that clients would be using if they were to come to this property. As a result of all findings contained in the staff report, City of Bismarck staff find that the proposed special use permit would adversely impact the public health, safety, and general welfare and is not consistent with overall with the Comprehensive Plan, Bismarck Code of Ordinances, and state law. Therefore, staff recommends denial of the special use permit for a major home occupation on lots 31 and 32, Block 90, Mackenzie and Coffins Edition. Do you have any questions for me at this time?
Commissioners, questions for Lauren? Commissioner Johnson.
Did you consider zoning change to RT instead of home occupation, or did you have similar concerns with that and spot zoning?
That's a great question, Commissioner Johnson. Chair, Commissioners, staff did discuss and consider a change in zoning for this. There are, like you said, some concerns with spot zoning for this. Properties that would be adjacent to this, if they were to potentially rezone to, say, an RT residential district, which would allow that office component, any single family or two-family homes that would be in an RT residential district need to have some sort of commercial component in order to comply with that zoning. So it was a matter of compliance, I guess, with the zoning requirements on our decision and discussion for a potential rezoning or a special use permit option with that. And through that evaluation, it was determined that the RT zoning might not be the best option for that.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. Commissioners, additional questions for Lauren? Commissioner Zand.
You know, as far as how many people would be working there, am I reading it right? There could be up to 3 more employees there?
Commissioners, that's a great question. Chair, Commissioners, it would be up to that 3 outside, those 3 additional employees who would not reside on premises would be allowed with a major home occupation.
So I guess what I'm referring to is they need parking besides anybody that would come in and want to talk to them about their business. So I'm not sure. I know that property is, I don't think there's enough parking there.
Lauren, do you have an answer?
Chair, Commissioners, that was part of several of our items that we looked for as we evaluated this item. And there's 3 parking spots that they identified off the alley. Based on discussions with them, there could be 3 additional employees there at a time. It could be 1 additional. I think part of that's up in the air, but I would let the applicant speak more towards that.
Thank you, Commissioner Zand. Commissioners, additional questions? Lauren, just one question from me. Is there any intent to change any portion of the property if this special permit was issued? In other words, as far as paving, parking, and things like that? Because I think the alley itself, if I remember correctly, is a gravel alley again, right?
That's a good question, Chair Schwartz, Commissioners. So I'm not currently aware of that. That might be a better question asked towards the applicant on that specific item. There might be additional ADA requirements getting to the parking to the house, but otherwise I would ask the applicant those questions. I'm not aware at this time.
Fair enough. Thank you. Any other questions for Lauren before we let her go? I guess not. Thank you.
Thank you.
With that, this is a public hearing. I'll open the public hearing as either the applicant or a representative here to speak to the agenda item. And sir, if you'd put your name on the log there and introduce yourself, it would be wonderful.
Yeah.
Did the pen disappear?
The pen did disappear. Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Isaac.
Good evening. I'm Lonnie Dietz, the applicant. Thank you, members of the commission, for taking the time to hear and consider our proposal for a special use permit. Also, thank you, Daniel and Lauren, for all your time and been really helpful navigating us through this process. As mentioned, part of Lauren's proposal, our presentation, our request meets just about every criteria for the home occupancy ordinance. The question mark is on a matter that will be in full compliance with much of the time. It's with my travel, it's the question of whether we can have a local manager use the property while I or one of my colleagues isn't happening to sleep there that night. in looking for a property, having a home occupancy component was a key factor in our search. We fully intend to use the property for both housing and business. To provide an example, I mean, today I took Zoom calls in a parking lot in my car, worked out of a restaurant in the afternoon, and sleep in a hotel tonight. I repeat this routine just about every time I'm up here, and as we are looking to have a physical North Dakota presence for our business, we also like to have a place to live. And ultimately, it's our belief that while, at least in our reading, while we might not match a strict read of every aspect of the ordinance, the totality of what we're seeking to do, we think fits the spirit of the ordinance, which is why we're here requesting a special use permit. Obviously, happy to answer any questions, but can definitely promise we'll be good neighbors, community partners to the outside community. There'd be no noticeable difference between our occupation business activities compared to a more traditional home occupant business. And I also believe that what we're looking to do is a perfect fit to make good use of that property. So that, I thank you again for your time and consideration.
Commissioners, questions for Lonnie? Commissioner Schmitz.
So I think you hit the concern on the head to start with. Where's your residence?
I live in Texas, my
Okay.
primary residence.
So I think that's where the concern is there's not a permanent residence. So just, I mean, I just need a clarification for now. Thank you.
Commissioners, additional questions for Lonnie? Commissioner Johnson.
Do you have an idea, or could you give us an idea of what the residence portion of it would look like? Is it seasonal throughout certain times of the week? What do you?
So it'd certainly be every time I'm here, and I come up here very frequently. We also, so nature of our business is advertisements, marketing, so a lot of computer. It's not a business where we'd expect, there would not be foot traffic from the outside public. There could be meetings arranged with clients, but that is not the normal. It's mostly computer work. We would anticipate projects either seasonally or that come up that we may have a colleague come that would see that project out, that does video editing or graphic design, that would work from there and also be able to stay there while the project's happening. And I think the main issue was while we were there, at least my understanding is while we were there, being able to operate the business and live out of there wasn't the problem. It was when we're not there to be able to have our local manager be able to use the property while there's not someone sleeping there that night.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. Commissioners, additional questions for Lonnie? Lonnie, were you planning to, and I'll ask the same question that I asked Lauren, are you planning to change anything? In other words, I look at parking there as kind of an interesting issue, and wondering what your thoughts are regarding that.
For the immediate foreseeable future of what we anticipate our needs to be, we think the parking is sufficient. There is availability on that east corner in the alley right now there's, I believe, currently 3 spaces there in addition to the driveway and the garage. I believe there's room to have an additional 2 if needed, but that's, I don't anticipate that much activity coming in and out, at least not in the foreseeable future.
Okay, my concern would be is as we go through our snow season here, and they plow the alley, which they will do, your access down there or at that point is going to be pretty much blocked. So you'd have to have plans to do something to move snow to allow, because really there is no parking on the street there.
Yep, there's none on the street on either corner. There are spots that go into the property before entering the alley.
Okay. All right, thank you. Commissioners, additional questions for Lonnie? Commissioner Zent?
Yeah, Lonnie, would there be any advertising or signs put up on that lot because of what you're doing?
That we would defer to the city on. I mean, we'd like to have a small sign attached to the house, but, and I believe that was in the allowance of the ordinance, but we're happy to defer to the city's interest on that.
Thank you, Commissioner Zent. Commissioner Shell?
Probably more of just a comment than a question for you, Lonnie, but I guess I'm just appreciative of being forthcoming and transparent with what you're doing. I think that helps us all make a good decision at this board. I'm not sure what the outcome will be, but there's another scenario where you didn't have to disclose a lot of this information, and you probably would have got what you wanted. So I appreciate you being able to tell us what you're going to do, so no one's really surprised, either us or anyone in the neighborhood, about how that property could be used. So just kudos to you for that transparency.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Shell. Again, Commissioners, any additional questions for Lonnie? I only have one, Lonnie. What drew you to the property?
I like that it's across from the Capitol. It's a great location. I like the architecture to it. It just is, we went in there with our realtor and walked in and said, this is perfect for what we're looking for. And so I think the layout is a good fit for to have office space as well as living. It's kind of the way it's separated. It fits well for our purpose.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Yep. All right. I don't think there are any more questions for you, so thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
With that, the podium is open for others that would care to address this agenda item. And if you'd add your name to the log and introduce yourself, it'd be
Good
great.
evening, Chair Schwartz, Commissioners. Thanks for having me up here tonight. I'll add that here in just a moment. My name is Dan Eastgate, and I am Mr. Dietz's realtor. When I sign a contract with a client for me to be their realtor, I owe them certain fiduciary duties, and one of those is to act in their best interest. I share that with you because when it comes to the city of Bismarck, I am born and raised here. This is my hometown. I love Bismarck. I didn't sign a contract with the city, but I truly believe that I act in the best interest of our community because I care about it a lot and I care about the people that are here. When I first met with Mr. Dietz, I had a chance to kind of share about that a little bit and just telling him that my job is to welcome great people to my favorite place. When we first met, Mr. Dietz and I talked about what he was looking for, some wish list items. Some of that was clearly, as he's already shared with you, but I'll just repeat it, is that he wanted a home, a place to reside, a place to stay that he could also conduct and operate some business out of. So we took a look at that corner, of course. I'd like to just point out that Mr. Dietz's application, I believe, that having read through all that, also having met with members of the city, which I also very much appreciate their time and them working with us as we try to figure some of this out, Mr. Dietz's application meets all the requirements that I could read through, with one of them being questioned. And it was somewhat speculative in my opinion, and that it's kind of a maybe. But I would say I heard an earlier comment about an area that was getting rezoned, and it was generally consistent with the neighborhood. And I believe that this is generally consistent with the definition and description of this special use permit of which Mr. Dietz is seeking out. I'd also point out that Ms. Oster earlier had it up on the screen, but that a half a block one way is zoning that would allow this no problem, and a half a block the other way. The actual zoning that it's in and it's surrounded by is investment. There's several investment rental properties right around there, including right next door. I believe that those properties, being a realtor, I know how many people can stay in those places. You may have a family that lives upstairs and a family downstairs that clearly could take up much more parking than Mr. Dietz is talking about. To address the parking issue, which was brought up many times, there is at least one, if not two, if an employee would park into the garage plus a driveway spot. There's another spot that's off of Boulevard, right off Boulevard, that you can pull into. I've been there many times myself. And there's actually already a rendering that's been drawn up for up to a 2-stall detached garage on that alley on the east side, which is consistent with the rest of the neighborhood. Multiple homes in that area have maybe one spot in front of their home and then one of those detached garages off the alley. I'm sure you all can appreciate everywhere south of Boulevard, from there all the way down to the Cathedral District, that's very common. So what I would say about this spot as well is it's a busy intersection. It's a great neighborhood, but it's a busy intersection. It's 4th Street and Boulevard. And the way that I would describe it as a realtor and as somebody who loves Bismarck, I would say that that is where residence meets business. Residence and business meet right at that corner in a lot of ways. We have the Capitol and the Governor's Mansion to the north. We have these rental properties all around it. And we have, again, within a half a block, full-on commercial buildings. I believe that Mr. Dietz is just trying to do that. He's trying to bring residents and business together. He's trying to move into a great place. He's already stated, and I fully believe it, he's going to be a great neighbor. He's going to reside there. He's going to work there. And we all will have had a chance to welcome another great person into our community. So with that, I just would like to say thank you for hearing me out tonight. And again, I would just say I see zero negative impacts to what he's talking about using this property for. And I'd really just question why we wouldn't do this. I think it's good for our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Before you go, Commissioners, questions for Dan? Not seeing or hearing any, Dan. Thank you. With that, the podium is open for others that would care to address this agenda item. And I'm not seeing or hearing any. So with that, I'm going to close the public hearing. And so,
Chair?
Lauren, I would ask if you have additional, I'm sorry.
Chair, thank you for recognizing me. I'll just add some additional comment here. I actually live in this general area as well and have noted the turnover, fairly high rate of turnover in this house, and it's probably been difficult to find a resident that wants to live at this location, so I can understand why they may be looking for a different use. I think when we were initially approached about this, Commissioner Johnson, you asked the question about did we consider rezoning this area to RT? And yes, we typically try to avoid RT zoning, and we thought, well, there's maybe another option. If you're actually going to reside here, you could go down this home-based occupation route. And to Mr. Dietz's credit, he was very honorable in being open with us about how he would use the lot the further we got into this application. And by the time it got to the point of making a recommendation, it seemed clear to us that one of the bigger components of a home-based occupation is that it's an accessory use to a primary use where somebody's living there full-time. And Mr. Dietz can't make that guarantee, and we wouldn't hold him to that. And so I think from staff's perspective, and I think why Mr. Dietz was not only honorable but sage in telling us that information, we don't want to trap him, and he doesn't want to trap himself if we get a complaint down the line that says, hey, somebody's working in here but not living in here full-time. They've made the commitment, the investment to move into this location, and now we have to have a zoning violation case issued on this matter. And so we want to prevent that, and I'm sure Mr. Dietz does as well. I think after talking through this, though, as staff internally, I think there's maybe an opportunity, depending on where the commission decides to go with this. We do have a precedent for developing one-lot planned unit developments that could address very site-specific things and get down into detail on some of those design-related elements. And, I think it probably could provide some more compatibility with the neighborhood if that's a route that, depending on where the commission wants to go with this, if this is denied, I think we would be open to working with the consultant in going down that PUD path if they chose to do that, to essentially rezone it to a very specific zoning designation for this use. So would be open to any questions you have on that.
Thank you, Ben. One question that I would have, is it the TR zoning?
The RT?
The RT. Little dyslexia there. Does the RT cover a situation like this?
So it could. We could choose to rezone this as an RT, go down that path as an RT zoning designation as well. The reason we avoided that is typically there's case law and precedent that tries to avoid what we call spot zoning or single lot zoning for those established sort of zoning designations that we have. However, going through the PUD process would, I think, help specify the type of use to address some of that concern. But we did look at rezoning this lot as well as the lots adjacent to it. The trouble with the RT, with the lots adjacent to it, they're being used as single-family residents, and the RT will not allow a single-family residence as a allowable use unless it's associated with a business. So, and I don't know that there's any desire to change those existing single-family homes to operate as businesses. So if we change the zoning to connect the other RT zoning designations, those other lots would be out of compliance with the zoning district.
Thanks, Ben, for the clarification. Appreciate that. Commissioner Shell.
Maybe another follow-up question for Ben. Are there any other zoning designations besides RT, or I guess because RT wouldn't fit the bill, that would be compatible with both a limited business use as proposed as well as the single-family uses that are there today?
Thanks, Commissioner Shell. Unfortunately, the more, I would say, business-oriented uses, RT is probably the most friendly to combine both residential and more business-oriented uses. The other, the CA, the CG type uses that we would have would also have that requirement with not allowing a single-family zoning designated home unless it's in conjunction with a business. So, thank you for that question.
Commissioner Shell.
And then just to follow up, if there was a PUD crafted for this subject parcel, it could be drafted in a way that would allow a limited business use as well as forever a residential use as it was previously, and I guess could be in future versions as well. Would that be an accurate statement?
Commissioner Shell, that would be an accurate statement.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Shell. Commissioner Schmitz.
So my follow-up is I view this as like a second residence or a vacation rental with a business occupation operating out of it. So I'm really struggling with not approving the permit because I think it really does fit the intent of what we were trying to have with home-based businesses. And maybe this is going to have to be part of our ordinance rewrite in our whole package, but can we have a variance that would allow that to occur for this particular permit? That's a question to staff. I don't even know if it's legal.
Yeah, thanks, Commissioner Schmitz. The hardship would be difficult to approve because they're bringing themselves to the hardship essentially, so that would be the difficult piece to approve. And I think the other thing, at least myself and potentially other staff are concerned about, is maybe the precedent this sets with allowing, potentially knowing that the person is not using this as a primary residence. What does that open up for the rest of the residential neighborhoods and potential uses that maybe uses beyond, this type of use is, let's face it, fairly compatible with a residential neighborhood, but there may be other commercial uses that are not so compatible with a residential neighborhood, and it's sort of the precedent that might get set with this. So,
thank you, Commissioner Schmitz. Good question.
Chair, planning commissioners,
Yes,
just
Daniel.
sorry to interrupt, but we're having a little technical difficulties, and in about 2 minutes, that computer is going to force us to restart. We can't get it to stop for whatever reason. So those who are attending on Zoom may experience some disruption. The meeting will still be broadcast, will still continue, but we'll try to get the audio to as quickly, as easily as possible, but it will close the Zoom meeting in about 2 minutes.
Very good. Thank you, Daniel. Commissioner Fields.
Well, we had these arguments when they were talking about this ordinance months back. And I was against any kind of home occupation rules because if you own the house, and if these people would have never filled out any paperwork or called the city, they'd happily be living in that house right now when they're here. And he would be off doing his road work. So really, we aren't protecting the public one bit if we don't approve his permit. The only thing we've proved is we stop people from coming to this town and running a business. I mean, the worst thing he could do is give somebody a paper cut. You know, he isn't raising Dobermans there. So I think we should approve his permit.
Commissioner Johnson, thank you.
So I think before we heard the presentation, I was pretty skeptical because you want to be able to protect the home occupancy ordinance. And I assumed they wanted the house just to run a business with no residential interest at all. And this almost reminds me a little bit if someone were to start a professional service business in a home, decide they want to be a snowbird, but they had a partner still in town that operated the business while they're gone. It feels a little bit more like that, where we don't really have it doesn't say that it has to be a primary residence. It doesn't say that it has to be occupied, which may be gaps, which may be holes that we want to fill later. But I don't know, like I could go either way on this. I think this use is appropriate there. They should be able to do this there, and I don't think it'll be a detriment to the neighborhood. I could go either way on this. Like I think that there's seeing that they have a sincere use for it as a residence, along with business. I don't think it's that. I don't really see it as incompatible with it as written right now.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Johnson. Before we go any further with any discussion, maybe we should throw a motion on the table here. The staff recommendation is to deny the special use permit. Commissioners, what are your wishes?
I'll make a motion to approve.
You'll make a motion to approve the staff recommendations, or?
No, to approve the special use.
The special use permit? Okay, thank you, Commissioner Johnson. Commissioner Field will second that. Okay, so we've got a motion and a second on the table. Any additional discussion? Commissioner Schell?
I think the challenge here is the precedent-setting capability here of this one's really, really close, and share Commissioner Johnson's view of it, could go either way. There might be other ones that might not be as close, and would hate for this thing to be the reason that someone would point to and say, well, you approved that one, why won't you approve mine? So just being sensitive to that, and knowing that there are other options that can still get this to work through a PUD, I guess I would not vote for this motion on the table, and knowing that there are other options that would still get them to where they need to be, that don't necessarily undermine the home occupation ordinance.
So as part of the discussion, this is going to be a question to staff. If our recommendation is, if we don't approve this and suggest a PUD, fees become a concern to me. So can we modify fees so that they're not being forced to pay the PUD zoning fee?
Yeah, thank you for that question, Chair, and yes, that can be worked out with the applicant.
Thank you, Commissioner Schmitz. Commissioner Larson?
Yeah, Chair and fellow commissioners, I struggle with this because I think, how is this different than, say, an Airbnb, where there's a house that's being used as a business, and, I mean, that has plenty of residency, that's not the owner of the house. I think this is closer to what the intent is of a home-based business than a typical Airbnb that does go into a residential district. So I struggle with it to expect the applicant to come back and do a PUD when they've obviously been working with staff. To me, I think Commissioner Fields was onto something, that the language that we passed for home occupation is probably what needs to be revisited versus this application itself. Because when I look at it, I understand the concerns of for spot zoning, but I also see, like it was said, half a block this way, half a block that way. This is very conducive to what is happening in that neighborhood. So I think that I feel like we're getting too strung up in our own language versus what makes sense. And I mean, I've sat in this chair plenty of times where I've talked about precedents, and you make decisions based on these small letter, sentence here and a sentence there. And in hindsight, there's votes I would have taken back in that way of decision making. And I remember a really great commissioner sitting with me saying, sometimes you got to make a decision not on the letter of the law, but what the actual best use and intent is. And so this one feels really frustrating to me in that the best use and the intent is what's sitting in front of us. And I struggle to make them jump through more hoops when they've been forthcoming and in doing something that makes sense to try and adjust to these crazy things that we've set out versus adjusting the things we've set out to make something work that makes perfect sense.
Thank you, Commissioner Larson. Additional comments, commissioners? Commissioner Field?
If that's the direction we would go with this, that means technically if you ran a business from your home, you better not take a vacation. Because as soon as you leave that house unattended, you just violated this ordinance. I mean, I've been to Florida 4 times this year, and I've been to Colorado for a week. So I couldn't have a home-based business if I wanted to, because I wasn't there 100% of the time. I mean, that's getting kind of ridiculous. And that's why I was against this whole rule initially, because we're taking this too far. What's it matter if he's gone for a month or 2 a year? I've been gone more than that. But I still have a primary residence here. Actually, I have 3 houses in Bismarck, but I'm not running a business out of any of them.
Thank you, Commissioner Fields. Commissioner Schmitz?
So just to clarify Commissioner Fields' comment there, that's not the intent. The vacation is not, it's what, the intent of the occupancy portion was primary residence. Primary residence means you can be gone on vacation. You could be gone 6 months of the year, technically, probably. The reason I'm struggling, and I'm with Amber, Commissioner Larson on this, is like I still view it more of it's still a residence, and could be a VRBO, and frankly, that's probably more traffic in the neighborhood. So I wish there were a better solution at the moment. I think we need to look, we are going through a big zone rewrite anyway, so this is probably where we will have to look at some of these use items as to how we can, you never get it right the first time. I do believe that the letter of the law, law is not black and white. Ordinances are not black and white. I mean, in the daily life I live, I have to figure out what is reasonable within what the letter of the law is. So anyway, that's just my comments, and I just wanted clarification.
Thank you, Commissioner Schmitz. Commissioner Johnson?
One question, maybe it's Ben or Daniel, but our ordinance, I don't think says primary residence right now.
That's correct, Chair and Commissioner Johnson. The ordinance just states residential occupancy. I think from the staff perspective, it wasn't so much the primary residency that was a concern. It was that there would be local staff working there without anybody living there, potentially. So that's the element that was our concern, not so much the primary residency.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. Commissioners, additional discussion? I'm not seeing or hearing any. So with that, we have a motion on the table to approve and a second. Sarah, would you please call roll?
Commissioner Wagen,
Yes.
Commissioner Field,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Larson,
Yes.
Commissioner Seebach,
Yes.
Commissioner Bittner. Did we lose him? Okay. Commissioner Lukens,
Yes.
Commissioner Schell,
No.
Commissioner Schmitz,
Yes.
Commissioner Zent,
Yes.
Chair Schwartz.
Yes, the motion is approved. And that wraps up our regular agenda for this evening. Commissioners, is there any other business that we should speak to this evening? If not, our next regular meeting is scheduled for January 22nd in the new year. So with that, I'll take a moment to wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and I'll see you on the 22nd. Thank you for your time.
Same to you.
Meeting adjourned.